Yep, that's right, Virgin Gang. Unfortunately, we're going to be reporting the death of a friendship, a partnership, and potentially a podcast in the future for the three people that care. We, of course, are going to be talking about Pokey Tea Time. Now, Pokey Tea Time, if you don't know, is a podcast on the YouTubes run by the lovable and huggable Not Siobhan and Yizzy Pokemon. Now, they put up a statement of separation very recently up on Not Siobhan's story, stating as such. I will put it up. I'm also going to summarize it real quick for you as well. Feel free to read it if you want. So, essentially, Yizzy Pokemon is very burnt out of the whole podcast game. He's tired of that stuff. He'd rather go on Whatnot and sell some cards, which who can blame him at this point? And Not Siobhan is basically tired of putting the entirety of the podcast on his broad shoulders. He wants to take it off his shoulders, put it right on his bosom, have it latch onto the nipple, and grow that sucker up nice and strong. He wants to have his baby be nice and successful, which, once again, who can blame him for that? And that's not really the problem or anything like that. And they're saying it's going to be a respectful and mutual breakup. Now, I'm going to report on this because A, I kind of predicted this a little bit further back, and I'll get to that here in a second. And B, it's just funny to see when you're right. You hate to see friends break up, you really do, but it's good content, it's good views, and honestly, I think this is kind of interesting because of the predictions I made previously. Let's get right into it, and I'll fill you in along the way. Alright, let's start this at the very beginning of this shit show. So, Pokey Tea Time featuring Not Siobhan and Yizzy Pokemon, I believe was founded approximately October 2020. It was around the same time I started doing videos on Instagram. I remember seeing them pop around that same time. They did topics regarding Pokemon, nerd culture, trading, investing, anything like that. They kind of talked about it all. They had some pretty prestigious people on their podcast early on, I remember. If they had anybody who was worth a damn, essentially what they would do, take their face and then take some kind of accomplishment that they did, whether it was a high view count, a high following, like anything like that, and they'd slap it in the thumbnail so everybody could see, just so the world could see the accomplishment of what they had gotten on their podcast. Cool, whatever. It was going pretty well, I would say, until approximately July 2021. I remember because I talked about this on my birthday. I'm going to call this the J-Love era of Pokey Tea Time podcast. So J-Love, and yes, we're talking about the same J-Love on, that guy right there. J-Love, he discovered their podcast and was like, this is kind of some edgelord crappy shit, like most people do whenever they discover the Pokey Tea Time podcast. No one really is like that big of a fan of it. It's basically background noise, white noise for you to actually listen to and fall asleep on the job and all that stuff, right? He found that, left a comment on that, and how Pokey Tea Time decided to respond, we're not going to say who. Pokey Tea Time decided to respond with flexing their numbers and the size of the person they actually had on their podcast, their collections. We have collections that you will never be able to achieve. You'll never be able to touch the cards that I've had, all that good stuff. And they got ratioed. They got ratioed pretty hard. You won't be able to see it anymore because YouTube getting rid of the dislikes for you to actually see. That I guarantee if they pull it up on their studio, it's not going to look that good. But they got ratioed pretty hard because of that, essentially starting the whole war between that, the whole fucking flexathon, to the point where friends of the podcast, as you can see right here, were stepping and being like, this is some low-class shit right here. You shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be replying to people like this. We're flexing and whatnot. And we can narrow it down even further. The person that was behind these comments and stuff was Not Siobhan. He is very guilty of doing that stuff before. I mean, we can compare comments of him flexing on other people to the comments of Pokey Tea Time flexing against the actual viewers. Let's actually do a CIA Miami bullshit thing right there. CSI, let's actually look into it. Yep, the homies at the lab ran the semen samples, the blood samples back, and they figured out that Not Siobhan is the person typing both these out. Yizzy is not really known for flexing on his fans too much, at least not that I know. Maybe he's a different person on Whatnot, but at least when it comes to his content creation, this is not something he's known for. This is more Not Siobhan's neck of the woods, and this is the pin right here that I believe that actually drove a actual fracture in between their podcast. And we're going to talk about the individual content creators at this point, because it's also important to see that as well on why I thought what I thought when they were actually going to be splitting up. Alright, first on the chopping block, we got Yizzy Pokemon. So, talking to the actual fans of the Pokey Tea Time podcast, I got a couple of things from it. One of the things that I got from it, and I talked to a few people, tried to let them know I wasn't making a video or anything like that, and it was trying to be as unbiased as possible. And all four of the Pokey Tea Time fans told me the exact same shit. Basically, that Not Siobhan is the dominant and the more supportive person of the Pokey Tea Time podcast, and Yizzy's just basically there to help kind of back up Not Siobhan and stuff like that. If there's a guest, usually what happens is the guest and Not Siobhan end up dominating the conversation. Not Siobhan is the alpha Chad male. He's got the big chin. He's got the big dick. He gets all the ladies, all the puss and all that stuff, and he is the one that is making that podcast to where it is. Now, look, I completely disagree with that entire mindset. I really don't think so, and I'm going to explain why. So, Yizzy Pokemon and Not Siobhan are both known for making content previous to the Pokey Tea Time podcast. However, Yizzy actually had a pretty successful YouTube page before that. In fact, the Pokey Tea Time podcast actually used to be on Yizzy's page. I do remember that. But before that, Yizzy actually did make Pokemon-related content. It was actually pretty good. I liked the content that he made. I thought he was a very well-versed dude. Really, the only thing that I don't like about Yizzy was the fact that he was on Whatnot charging high prices while basically shaming scalping. That's the only thing I really didn't like about what he did. And honestly, I'm over that. At this point, I think Yizzy's being held back by the douchebag on his legs, man. I really do. I think Yizzy is going to go very much further and actually have a much more successful content creation career if he decides to keep making it without Not Siobhan being attached to him, man. Because honestly, I've talked to people that are not fans of the Pokey Tea Time podcast, and we're kind of all in unison. Not Siobhan's the problem. He's the person that's doing that. Yizzy has been more active lately on Whatnot, which whatever. I actually see the notifications for him to actually come on there. I think that's where he's been and where he's not been at the podcast or anything like that. Maybe he just enjoys that content more. Maybe he likes fucking selling those cards. I have no idea. But I think if he decides to make content in the future, I really do think him not having Siobhan hanging off his ass crack, I think will definitely help him out in the future, and I think people will agree with that. Not Siobhan, on the other hand, I'll just fucking say it. Dude's a tool. Dude's a douchebag, and I don't really care what anybody has to say about it or anything. I'm sure he's had pleasant conversations with some people in the past, but every single time he has some kind of altercation with somebody on the internet, it always plays out the exact same way. I showed you what happened previously, but it always goes like this. Someone says something to him. His flex and his immediate comeback is going like, oh, my collection's bigger than yours. I get following. I get ass. I get pussy. Check out this stuff. Check out this collection that you'll never touch. Check out my views. Check out my following. You're just a weak little peasant. Look at that stuff. I mean, like, I've shown you what he did with J-Love. He still does that stuff to this day, especially with people that he's claiming is copying his podcast and all that stuff. It's like, whoa, man, the original idea of a podcast that Not Siobhan and Yizzy Pokemon thought of. Whoa, crazy revelation, all that stuff. And look, as somebody who went down that path before, I definitely said the exact same stuff when I started making content, and I realized I was being a fucking tool. I was being a douchebag. I apologized to people that I needed to, and I backed up. I learned from it. Content is content. When you take pride in your content, you're obviously going to feel a little bit of ownership towards it. You're going to be like, man, I fucking love my content, and I don't want anybody else to take away from my content. I understand that feeling, but man, Siobhan takes that stuff to a whole nother level. Check this shit out.
Some people just don't know how to keep my name out of their mouths, and quite frankly, they must love how I taste, because it gets them clicks and it keeps them relevant. I know people are pocket watching, so they know who I'm talking about.
Oh, they're gargling me in their mouth. They're getting my pubes stuck in their teeth. Well, I'm not going to say any names or anything because I have no backbone, but they're watching me in pocket, dude. I don't even know what the other person said. I don't care what the other person said. It's not even relevant to what it is. I mean, this is straight up what he's doing right there, flexing his views, his clicks, and all that stuff. Oh, is this what, like, high views and clicks look like? I'm not saying it's bad. Good for you for getting some views, dog, but I was expecting a little bit more from somebody coming out of the woodwork swinging with 8 bats, dude. I mean, what is this? This doesn't even get you fucking like anywhere near what you're hyping yourself up to be, man. I was expecting more from you, dog. Man, I don't know. Even me that doesn't give 2 fucks sometimes beats you, and I don't even try.
Besides the racism, which I can prove through screenshots, your video is filled with bad takes.
Okay, I will say that if that's actually true, the racist bullshit shouldn't be happening. There's plenty of things you can make fun of Not Siobhan for without picking fun at something he can't help. I will say that. It's kind of bullshit if that's happening.
First and foremost, the act of buying and selling cards is nothing new to any community and is what fuels and grows a hobby.
Well, TCG player base also does that, but that's something that these guys never talk about. They never talk about anything that regards the TCG following or anything like that. Look, I'm a greedy bitch. I like money as well. I really do. I like getting a little bit of money. I like getting paid for my fucking work, and I like buying expensive cards every once in a while. But I mean, fucking the players keep TCGs going just as much, if not more sometimes. Even with Pokemon, fucking X and Y era, black and white, bruh, there was nobody here. It was players keeping this shit going.
I don't have to tell you why I'm selling my Digimon cards, but just to let you know, I'm selling it to buy even more Digimon cards. Everything that you see here is something that I've kept for the past 2 years plus, so I'm not a flipper.
Stop bullying me. I don't have to tell you guys why I'm selling my Digimon cards, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm selling them anyway. Huh, got him. That'll show those little bitches. It's like, bro, this is the most insecure thing I've ever heard. Why are you explaining it? I sell cards all the time to fund other cards, and people do sometimes give me hate going, oh, I thought you loved the full art trainers. Why are you selling them now? What, because they're a high price? Not seeing how much I sell them for, where they're way under market value, usually close to what I actually got them for before the boom. And it's just like, I don't need to explain anything to anybody. I'd be doing this shit all day. I'd have literally 100 of these videos of me talking to my camera like not Siobhan has if I was doing that shit, man.
You showed my Beckett 9 first edition Shuttleless Charizard card, my Lugia first appearance card on your video, but failed to show the price points, and you did that purposefully. For a Beckett 9 first edition Shuttleless Charizard card, the market value is roughly $22,000, and for a Lugia, it is roughly around $3,000 to $4,000.
Oh, yeah, you forgot to talk about the most important part, bro. You didn't talk about the value of these cards. I'm sure there's a little bit more to this, but you see what I'm getting at here? Basically, it's flex, flex, flex. Oh, you're talking shit about me. Oh, but you didn't mention the price of my cards. Look at that. Beckett 9 Charizard worth $22,000. Like, just throwing out these numbers and these clicks, and oh, you're only talking about me because you're a jealous hater, and I get you views and clicks. Flex, 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 flex. You kind of get it here?
See, if you knew anything about marketing, you would know people like PokeRev and myself, we list things for a very arbitrary number just to get views and attention.
No, the arbitrary values are intentional? Whoa, you and PokeRev do it for views and clicks and shit? Whoa, what the hell, man? Oh, I just got played. I take it all back. This video is going in the trash now. Fucking control, delete that shit, am I right? Oh, see you later. Yeah, everybody knows why you guys do it. That's why some people don't like y'all, because it is for views, clicks, clout, and money. Everybody fucking understands it. This whole feud, I believe, comes from something revolving this. They're talking about, you know, the actual copying of the podcast and stuff like that. All this stuff, I'll put it up right here.
I've been doing it since 2020, and you just started last year. If anything, you're copying me. You just started last year. You're copying me. You're copying me. You're copying me. You're copying me.
So I will say this in the video, not Siobhan is telling the truth. They did start in 2020, as I do recall. They were there. I remember that very vividly. It used to be on Yizzy Pokemon's page, as I said before. But the other thing is that, like, the views and the ratings and all that stuff, it's because their podcast isn't very good. It's not a very good podcast, doesn't make any waves. And the people that they've gotten on their podcast is basically a result of using people's names and views for actual clicks, as not Siobhan says people are doing to him.
Some people just don't know how to keep my name out of their mouths, and quite frankly, they must love how I taste, because it gets them clicks and it keeps them relevant.
And the expensive-ass cards they have in their hands, right? But as you can see with everything I presented right here, this is a very big personality difference between Yizzy Pokemon and not Siobhan. And I do truly believe this is why the podcast was not meant to last. Maybe with a different co-host, maybe with someone else on the actual table. Maybe someone else can uphold this podcast and do everything together. But I mean, who would apply for this podcast? Hey, it's Opossum Bud. This is my audition video for Pokey Tea Time podcast. I think I would be a great addition to it. You don't tell any jokes at all. I never stop telling jokes. It'd be a great combination. We'd have the whole frenemies thing. I'd be Trisha. No, you gotta be Trisha. And then I'll be Ethan, because I'd still like to have a career after we're done with this. Look, I can dance too if you need me to dance. Look, I learned this from your favorite content creators, people that you wish you could meet. Yeah. I got slabs too, you see this? So this one right here, this is worth approximately $40. Hopefully with all these great additions, you will consider me as the co-host of Pokey Tea Time. Let's make some things happen, buddy. Nah, I'm just kidding. I do think they have other prospects already on the way. There's people that have joined the Pokey Tea Time podcast before. Maybe one of them will actually be the new co-host for it. Good luck in your endeavors, Yizzy Pokemon. Good luck in your endeavors, not Siobhan. I still agree with what I said. I think that I said everything very well. I presented enough of a reason for people to actually think that this is what's going on. And personally, I think Yizzy's going to be better off. Not Siobhan. Maybe he'll do something better too. Maybe he'll just make some super opinionated content. And maybe he'll just be on his way too. Hell, there's a fan base for hate, man. I mean, look at fucking me, dog. I'm up here making videos for the people and just talking shit, right? And that's all I do. So there's hope for everybody. That's all I got. Appreciate it. Have a good night, and hope you guys see where I'm coming from. Later, virgins.